Hello once again, and Tony here with a review of Zazie dans le métro, known in English as Zazie in the Metro, which I also saw last night at the Kino Babylon and which was released on October 28, 1960. This film was directed, written, and produced by Louis Malle. The co-writer was Jean-Paul Rappeneau. It was based on the novel of the same name written by Raymond Queneau. The cinematography was done by Henri Rachi. The music was composed by Fiorenzo Carpi and André Portant. It was edited by Canute Pelletier, and it starred the talents of Catherine de Mongeau, Philippe Noiret, Carla Marier, Hubert Duchamp, Annie Fratellini, Vittorio Caprioli, Jacques Dufilot, Yvonne Cletch, Odette Piquet, Antoine Roblot, and Marc Dolnitz. This was the first time I saw this particular film, and I did not know what I was going to get myself into. But after I watched Zazie dans le métro in its entirety, I can definitely say that this film left me laughing so much because of everything that happened. Every antic, every gag, and every joke made me feel so elated, and here's why. The basic premise of this film tells the tale of a young 10-year-old inquisitive girl by the name of Zazie who spends the weekend with her uncle Gabriel in Paris. Unfortunately, what's happened is that there was a strike going on after she arrived, so she basically embarks on a journey to Paris while a lot of crazy hijinks happen. And I have to say that the story may not have anything that is deep or totally meaningful, but what it managed to do was it kept me thoroughly entertained and just kept me glued to the edge of my seat in the most positive way possible. The humor found in the film had a sort of zaniness and a hilarity that many other cartoons could rival. One can tell that the people behind Zazie dans le métro and even the gentleman who wrote the novel took a lot of inspiration from the Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry, Woody Woodpecker, and many other great slapstick cartoons and slapstick films of the olden times. They were able to take so much inspiration, yet also made it their own thing. And you might think that a little girl hanging out with her uncle and spending the weekend with him and getting themselves into a lot of hijinks might not sound like anything that's new, but the film proves the viewers wrong and manages to get them in such a crazy and fun ride that they would love to go back again. And I dare not spoil the climax or the ending, but let's just say that it is a rollicking great time when you see all the characters together in one wonderful romp. So I'm not going to mince words here about the story. It is definitely fun, hilarious, and brilliant in its own special way, which was definitely a major accomplishment I have to give in terms of everything that is done, from the writing to the jokes and to the gags. Everything about it was well executed. And one highlight I can definitely go back to from the story is the chase scene between Toucaillon and Zazie, which is so elaborate, so full of energy and excitement that I found myself so involved, and I found myself just laughing so hard from that particular scene because it was an homage to all the great chase scenes of the past. Whether it be Wile E. Coyote's and Roadrunner's chase scenes or even that of Tom's and Jerry's, I can definitely say with confidence that the chase scene found in Zazie dans le métro was the biggest highlight for me. And let's not forget about that huge romp of an ending. That also deserves a lot of mention. The cinematography is just as amazing. What I really love about how the effects were done, especially the usage of time lapse and the usage of jump cuts, and many other camera tricks and visual effect tricks to make it come alive all make it such a wonderfully visual ride that I can always find myself coming back to. The usage of jump cuts and the usage of time lapses and many other camera and effects tricks basically put into mind that anything can happen in the city of Paris. It doesn't matter if it's just something that happens every day, or if it's just something out of the ordinary, or if it's something completely bizarre. What this film demonstrates to us, the viewers, is that anything and everything can happen. Whether it be a chase scene between a grown man and a little girl, or even Uncle Gabriel finding himself with 4 German tourist girls, or even those moments where the characters run or walk or do all of these things and even climb down the stairs and have their voices sped up. Everything about it just screams just how surreal and how fun and how engaging and just how unique the experience is watching Zazie dans le métro. The music is just as zany and absolutely amusing as both the story and cinematography, as they can range from surprisingly sweet and calm to very zany, energetic, fun, and bombastic. It just leaves me highly involved with what's going on, and I cannot go wrong with what the composers had to offer. They were definitely having a lot of fun making the score to this film, and the overall execution just shows. The characters are all lovable and absolutely amusing and charming in their own special way. Let's start off with our title heroine, Zazie. Now, she is everything I totally enjoy in many a kid character. She's rambunctious, she's inquisitive, she's smart-mouthed, she is very curious of the world around her, she is energetic, she's full of life, she is so vivacious, and she just has this type of attitude which makes her all the more lovable, and her feistiness is definitely one of the biggest standouts about her character. There is something that is so wonderfully charming about this mischievous young 10-year-old girl, and she manages to capture my heart with her signature mischievousness and, of course, that type of energy that she gives to the entire story. She is endearing in her own special way, especially since that I could easily compare her to the likes of Dennis the Menace and many other mischievous kid characters who managed to exude a lot of charm. Much like Dennis the Menace, Zazie exudes a lot of rambunctiousness, and she has something about her which makes her all the more charming and all the more entertaining to watch. And when all is said and done, I can definitely say that Zazie is not only one of my most favorite kid characters to ever witness on any comedy, but also one of the finest kid characters in any installment. Then we go to her uncle, Oncle Gabriel. He's a lot more laid back and he's a lot more down to earth in comparison to Zazie's more rambunctious, vivacious, and out there attitude. He and Zazie managed to work perfectly well with each other, and their chemistry as uncle and niece is also quite palpable. He's also someone who managed to find himself in these crazy misadventures, especially when he loses his glasses and does all of these stunts on top of the Eiffel Tower, which I thought was quite hilarious. And as for Oncle Gabriel as a character, he's really lovable in his own special way with his gruffness and, of course, how surprisingly down-to-earth he is. Albertine is witty, sharp-minded, and really level-headed, considering that she's one of the tenants of the apartment. She managed to show a lot of level-headedness, and she's very clever, but also wonderfully charming, and her level-headedness is what makes her all the more wonderful as a character, and all the more fun to watch, considering how much of a straight face she keeps every time she's on screen, because she seems to be that type of person who has everything under control, and that's what makes her stand out in her own special way. Turandot is the landlord of the apartment, and what I really love about him is his over-the-top neurotic antics. He definitely steals the show in this film, as his outbursts of the tiniest things make him all the more lovable and all the more fun to watch. Charles and Mado are a wonderfully fun, wonderfully exhilarating, and simply put, amusing couple. They manage to work well off of each other, and it's all thanks to their superb comedic timing and just how charming they are together. Trucaillon is also quite charming in his own special way, what with his schemes to try to get Zazie in her blue jeans and the chase scene he has with her. There are also a host of equally wonderful characters, such as Ferdinand, the shoemaker, whose gruff old man attitude makes him really lovable. Madame Moak's over-the-top dramatic reactions to everything that happens with Zazie, Jen's exhilarating and extravagantly open personality, whether she greets her brother at the train station or whether she has another beau for her to make love to, and even Officer Coquette, who is just so fun to watch, especially with his chemistry with Madame Moak. So overall, the characters are wonderfully hilarious and they are just charming in their own special way, with Zazie being the absolute standout as this is her show. She really leads the helm, and the supporting characters also do their part in making this film a really fun ride. The acting is just as charming as these characters, especially when you have Catherine de Mongeau, who managed to embody Zazie in all of her rambunctious and inquisitive glory. She has a way of making Zazie wonderfully lovable and wonderfully charming, all thanks to her superb acting chops and all thanks to how she was able to bring in so much light and lovability to this character. Philippe Noiret was wonderfully gruff, yet wonderfully lovable as Uncle Gabriel. With his deep, imposing voice, he managed to couple that with a lot of fun that he was able to present with his character, and an entertaining soul which he managed to exude with flair. Carla Marié was gorgeous and stunning as Albertine, as she was able to take advantage of her magnificent figure, her piercing and magnetic eyes, and her Mediterranean features to make Albertine come alive as a character in all of her level-headed glory. Hubert Duchamp was rollickingly hilarious as Turandot, as he was able to make him really over the top in his outbursts, and he was just someone that I could have a great laugh with. Annie Fratellini was also quite gorgeous as Mado, as she was able to make great use of her girlish features and that sunniness about her to make Mado come alive as a character. Vittorio Caprioli was wonderfully amusing as Trucaillon, as he was able to bring in a lot of great comedy to this character. Jacques de Filot was a lovable Ferdinand. Yvonne Kletch was wonderfully over the top as Madame Moak. Odette Piquet showed a combination of stature and agility as Jeanne. Antoine Roblot was wonderfully youthful as Charles, and Marc Doelnitz was charismatic as Officier Coquette. So overall, Zazie dans le métro is an absolute must-watch. If you are a fan of French comedic films, you will definitely have the time of your life watching Zazie getting into all of these crazy hijinks, and the same thing can be said of the other characters. And you know what I'm going to give Zazie dans le métro. A well-deserved rating of 5 out of 5 stars. Go see this French classic comic film, and you will definitely have the time of your life. And for those of you who saw Zazie dans le métro, whether it be at the Kino Babylon or any other venue, what'd you think of it? Did you really love the film in its entirety? Was there a favorite scene that you kept coming back to every time? Or did you feel like there was something that was completely wrong with the story and the characters? comment below and let me know. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to tune in much later for my review of Hiroshima Mon Amour, also at the Kino Babylon. So until then, have a great day, everybody.